it's Amanda, and before our first frost and freeze hits, I'm saving a few of my favorite summer annuals by propagating them for next year. Okay, so I really started exploring propagation probably 3 or 4 years ago, and now I'm pretty much hooked on it. It's literally free plants. Look at this guy trying to get me over here. And so I'm going to have a series of propagation videos. If you missed my grocery store propagation video, I'll link that below. Check that out. And we're going to have a propagation video today over 3 different varieties of plants. And then I'll have another one in a few days. And I really just want to show you how to be very budget conscious for your garden and really maximize the amount of plants you have for next year for next to nothing. Okay, so I'm looking at these hanging baskets right here. They are Swedish ivy and Tradescantia, and they are all propagated plants from the year prior, which is super exciting. So today we're really going to focus on, we're going to do some Swedish ivy, we're going to do some Tradescantia, and if you see all this beautiful red peeking out, we're also going to try propagating some dragonwing begonias, which would be a first for me. Okay, so why take cuttings in the fall? It's the easiest and most budget-friendly way to carry your favorite plants into the next spring. If you are a budget-conscious gardener like myself, I don't have tons of money to go buy tons of plants each season. And so being able to propagate these is extremely helpful for creating a really lush, full garden for next to nothing. Tender plants like what we were talking about, the Swedish ivy, begonias, Tradescantia, don't survive the frost, but they do root very quickly indoors, which is perfect for my situation. And you'll start spring with strong established plants ready to fill containers and hanging baskets. And that's really what I like to utilize a lot of these that we're working with. I like to utilize them for hanging baskets and containers on this back porch, and I don't like to spend a lot of money on this back porch because it's kind of just a thoroughfare for me. I'm constantly going and cutting through to the garden. I don't spend a ton of time on here, so I don't want to spend a ton of money either. Before we get started, I want to point out one thing about inspecting the plants that you are going to be cutting. You want to inspect the mother plants closely, especially under the leaves and along stems for aphids, mealybugs, and spider mites, because we do not want to bring those into our houses. If you notice any of these pests, wash the plant thoroughly with a mild insecticidal soap and let it dry before taking cuttings or treat cuttings once planted. And I am going to show you how I rinse and clean mine off today so that we do not bring any pests inside. Okay, let's start taking some cuttings. I'm excited. Okay, we're going to start with Swedish ivy. Now, this Swedish ivy right here is kind of a lighter green. It tells me that we have some iron deficiency going on, so I'm not going to start with this one. I'm actually going to work off of that hanging plant over there. And here's one of the things that I learned about Swedish ivy. It grows bonkers, absolutely crazy. So last year, I think I started like a dozen cuttings. I did not need to start a dozen cuttings because it grows so profusely that I am able to trim it during this winter season and then take those trimmings and turn those into cuttings as well and still have a ton of plants. So this year I'm really focusing on only having 3 to 4 cuttings of each variety of Swedish ivy. I have 2 varieties. One is just the all green, and then I have another variety right up here which is the variegated version. And so we're going to take cuttings of both. Now, when taking cuttings, I like to take a profuse amount for those cuttings. So I like to take a nice long big piece. Your piece needs to be at least 3 to 4 inches for the Swedish ivy. And truthfully, I think I can just take one more cutting and that'll be plenty to start. And like I said with the Swedish ivy, it grows bonkers inside for me. So I don't have to take too much to start off with. I'm also going to come up here and take a few cuttings of some of this variegated Swedish ivy. And none of this will survive the winter for me. So really going ahead and getting these before a frost is really good. We had a light, very light frost where we hit just at 32 degrees for maybe 30 minutes. And it did do some damage on a few things. So I was kind of like, oh crap, I almost messed up and didn't get any of it. But we are not expecting another freeze for a little while longer now. So I thought I better get out here and take care of business. Okay, and then over here I have my favorite Tradescantia, which is called Velvet Hills Tradescantia. It has this very soft texture to it. And once again, it grows pretty crazy as well. So I really don't need to have tons of cuttings because I will get the opportunity once these grow on to pinch the tops and start those pinched pieces as additional cuttings. Now for the Tradescantia, we want 4 to 5 inch pieces of cuttings. Like I said, I'm cutting really large pieces and then I'll cut down from there. Okay, so next I'm going to have to cut some of this back so y'all can see a little better so I can get access to this begonia down here. Let me move some of this. Okay, so we've got begonias down here and I'm just going to go ahead and cut off some long pieces of this dragon wing begonia. And we want to make sure that our pieces are at least 3 to 5 inches and that we're able to get some leaf nodes under the soil. And so I'm going to cut several of these. This is my first year doing the dragon wing begonias. So I hope that they are a success because I have fallen in love with growing dragon wing begonias, or truthfully any kind of begonias of any kind. And so I would really love the opportunity to be able to expand on these. Sweet. Okay, I mean, is it any more fun than you get to put them in one of your favorite vintage baskets? I love it. So let's go inside. We're going to start at the kitchen sink and I'm going to show you how I give these all a really good rinse to make sure that I'm not bringing any pests into my house. Okay, so this is the simplest way that I deal with pests from cuttings. I come into my sink and I put my drain stopper in to make sure that the water can stay in my sink. I turn my water on warm. I don't want it to be too chilly. And I put in a little bit of Dawn dish soap, not much. Make sure this water is a little bit warmer. It's really cold. And I go ahead and let this fill up really well. Now, if you don't want to waste water, I mean, because I know for a lot of the people in my more arid desert areas, this is a huge waste of water in your area. You can literally just get a smaller pail, cut your cuttings down smaller, and then dip them into there, making sure that they soak for a few minutes first. There we go, getting some warmer water in there. Soak for a few minutes first. You don't have to do it this way. This is just the easier way for me, and we are not currently in a water situation, having issues with water right now in our area. If we were under water restrictions, obviously I would go about this in a different way. Another way you can do it is to take the handle of your hose, maybe the shower or strong jet, and you can hose these off really hard under each leaf, along the stem, making sure that you're removing all of the pests. And then as this is filling up, I don't want it to get too hot. There we go. As this is filling up, I'm going to go ahead and take a few stems at a time and gently put them into the water. Getting them fully submerged is key. Now, Swedish ivy and Tradescantia are very fragile stems. Don't stress if they snap. It'll be fine. Like I say, you can always go grab some more out in the garden if you don't feel like you have what you need. Okay, and that's it for me. I'm going to allow these to soak in here for about 10 minutes, and then I'm going to come and lay them out and dry them off. I went ahead and put in a plate to weight them down, make sure they stay under the water. Basically, we're suffocating any kind of pests that might be on them. Okay, I've had them soaking for a little while, not too long, 5 to 10 minutes is plenty of time. And then I'm going to reach down here and unplug so it can drain. And then I'm just going to take my cuttings and lay them all out to dry. And I want them to be dry prior to handling them for planting. Now, last year I brought in a bunch of lantana cuttings and did not clean them off, and I ended up having a mealybug infestation, and it was the actual worst. It was terrible. All right, just like that. And then you can come in and blot them if you want. These should not take too long to dry. All right, once they're dry, we can get started with potting them up. Okay, so I've got all my cuttings. They're still slightly damp, but they're fine. It's gonna totally work. And I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start by prepping all of my cuttings. Go ahead and cut them all the way I need them, put them off to the side, and then we'll get all the soil ready. Okay, we will start with the Swedish ivy. And if you recall, we needed about 3 to 4 inch cuttings. And we want to cut just above some leaf nodes. So everywhere that you see the leaf nodes coming, or these leaves coming out, is a leaf node. Anywhere the leaf is coming out of the stem, that is a leaf node. We want at least one leaf node to be below the soil line. So I'm going to come in here, I'm going to cut. All right, I'm going to cut this one piece. And then I'm going to take off the leaves on the bottom. Let me get something to dump all my cuttings in. Then I'm going to take some more leaves off the bottom. All right, just like that. And I'm actually going to cut these big leaves because it's got smaller leaves. And then I've got one cutting ready to go. So let me bring you all in closer and show you what that looks like. All right, we're going to do another Tradescantia. I'm actually just going to pull the leaves off the bottom here. Got one leaf node right there. That's going to go under the soil. And then I'm going to pull the leaves towards the bottom because we don't want a ton of the leaves. We don't want the cutting to have to support a ton of the leaves. So I've got my one leaf node there. I've got a couple more. It's at least 3 to 4 inches long. So now I've got 2. Okay, and then coming over to the variegated Tradescantia is far easier, because that's a lot of leaf nodes showing, and most of the leaves are just at the top of it only. So it's a very different look to, did I say Tradescantia? I meant Swedish ivy. And takes off some of these. And remember, we're not getting overzealous about this. We really just want to start like 3 to 4 cuttings because they're going to do great. They're going to do great for me, and I will be able to take additional cuttings off of the ones that grow. All right, next I'm going to switch over to the Velvet Hills Tradescantia. So same thing, everywhere you see a leaf coming out is a leaf node. And so we want to have, I'm going to try for 2 leaf nodes underneath. So I've got 1, 2, and then 3, 4, 5. That's quite a few. And then I'm going to take off the leaves at the base, just like that. And that's truthfully where a lot of bugs hide on these leaves, how they're folded up. So that's why soaking them works really well. We want these to be about 4 to 6 inches long. And these do have some blooms. I don't really want it growing blooms, so I'm going to pull those out. It just sucks energy from the plant. And then finally the begonias. I am going to start more of these because I've never started these before. So I think it's important to try several. If they work out, great. I want to try several just in case they don't do as well. So I've got one leaf node there, and then I'm going to come up a couple of more leaf nodes just like that. And these are such big leaves that I'm going to cut them in half so that the plant does not have to focus on so much. And we're going to about 4 to 6 inch cuttings, preferably with no flowers. And you can see these flowers and taking those off. So I got 1, 2 leaf nodes, and then I'm going to cut out these flowers right here. And cut this leaf in half, just like that. Y'all, if I'm able to propagate these dragonwing begonias, do you know how much of a savings that's going to be for me? It's going to be huge. We're ready to move on. Okay. So some of these will be easy to start in smaller containers, and some of these are going to be easier to start in larger containers. Let me see what kind of decision I'm going to make. Okay, for the Swedish ivy and the Tradescantia, I'm going to use my seed starting trays. Just coming in here with a basic potting soil. I'm going to need some more soil. This is not my favorite one. I just haven't been out to homegrown plants in a while. I usually like to use Burger BN7. This one I don't love because it's not very fine. It's not actually very good for seed starting, but I'm sure it'll be fine for cuttings. And basically just going to come in here, get all this soil settled down in here. Don't really want to press it in too much. We'll go ahead and fill a container for each variety, although we're not going to use all of the seed cells in each of these containers. This variety has like a lot of bark in it. I don't like that. All right, and then I'm going to use my reservoirs. I'm going to fill those up halfway with water. All right, and then we'll go ahead and just let these drop in and soak up that water. Okay, so one thing I've learned over years is not to overcrowd my seedlings. It's very important. Now, Swedish ivy does not require this. It actually does pretty well without, but a rooting powder will help your cuttings root faster. And I just like to make sure that I have the rooting powder on at least one leaf node. And then make a hole for that and put that in. Making sure that that leaf node is underneath the soil line, super important. And one more. I kind of got them spaced out too, just like that. We'll go ahead and do that for the variegated and for the Tradescantia. I think I keep saying Tradescantia instead of Swedish ivy, but and I am going to cut these Tradescantia just a touch shorter. Now I have filled these up with 12 cuttings in one container before, and I felt like it just they didn't thrive as well as they could have. So I think just like a few in there helps better with air circulation and helps with the overall quality of the growth Okay, and then at this point, we're going to put a humidity dome on each of these. These typically take 2 to 3 weeks to root in soil, and we're making sure that our humidity dome is closed. Okay, and just for fun, I forgot to press record again, and I already did my begonia cuttings, but let me show you what is involved with this. So basically I took a basically a bedding container that I got from the nursery, right? I filled it with just regular potting soil, and then I went ahead and dipped my begonia cuttings just like the other cuttings. I dipped them in rooting powder, and that's a rooting hormone to really help those roots come out, and then I pushed them in the soil. I did do 2 cuttings per container for the begonias, and I use these larger containers because these are larger cuttings. There's more space in between the leaf nodes, so it made sense as opposed to the smaller containers. And then since I don't have a humidity dome that is large enough for these, I went ahead and just put a gallon-sized plastic bag over the top, making sure that the top of the bag goes all the way to the base of the container. I've also watered these so the soil is nice and moist and ready to go. And then this is going to work better keeping these humid through the rooting process. Okay, feeling really good about this. Couple of things. We want to be aware and watch for early signs of disease and pests. So you're going to be watching for leaves that are yellowing, sticky residue or fine webbing. These are all signs of pest and disease. You want to act early with insecticidal soap or neem oil if you see something like that going on. If you see yellowing leaves, go ahead and remove that leaf as well. A little bit about aftercare. You want to keep the soil evenly moist but not soggy. You want bright indirect light, works best. I have my grow light setups which work well. This is about 12 to 14 hours of light per day. Works great. You can use a sunny windowsill, preferably a south-facing windowsill that receives the most light. You can use that as well. Once the roots form in about 2 to 4 weeks, we're going to move cuttings to slightly larger pots and containers, and I will have a video showing you what that looks like. Whether this is a success or not, I'll show you what's happening. As your plants continue to grow, you want to pinch back the tips to encourage bushier, compact growth. And like I said before, when I'm pinching back those tips, I'm actually going to be saving a lot of those tips and then going to propagate those tips. And that, I wish I had done that last year so I had less plants. Would have been way easier. And I think that that'll be way more fun with this year, just to kind of pinch and be able to give myself another project of propagating. And then you want to lightly fertilize once a month with a diluted liquid fertilizer. We're not looking to over fertilize these. We don't want them growing bonkers. We just want them putting on lots of roots and a few leaves. Nothing crazy. We don't want them blooming, nothing like that. Really, we're just trying to grow plants so that they're nice and healthy to plant out in the spring. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed this. This is fun. So now we've done the grocery store flowers, we've done begonias, we've done Swedish ivy, and we've done Tradescantia. We're also going to be attempting lavender, rosemary. I've got some more varieties of begonias. I've got some double impatiens I would like to try. I've also got some dahlias that I would like to create plants from as well. So I think that's going to be really fun and very exciting because if I'm just like doubling and tripling my plant supply for free, minus the cost of the soil. All right, have you ever propagated plants before? If you have not, are you willing to try it at this point in time? Or if you are someone who propagates plants all the time, let me know below what plants you love to propagate. Everybody share what you're propagating because it's just free plants for all of us, right? So check that out. And if you are like me and you are on a gardening journey and you would like to spend that gardening journey with some gardening friends, check out my Patreon community. The link is in the video description below. There's a free tier that you can join in under and you get a few options, but you can also sign up for the paid tier, which is the Certified Mad Gardener. If you become a Certified Mad Gardener, you get access to everything, lives, exclusive videos, photo chats, or photo sharing, and group chats. So check it out if you're interested. I would love the support and I'd love to be able to spend the time with you. As always, she's a mad gardener or a decorator or anything else that she wants to be. Thanks, y'all.